Hello everybody, my name's Shane. These are the ingredients for a dish today. There's not a lot, but it's going to make a good meal at the end. To start off, we're going to cut our meat into 1-inch cubes, as you can see me doing that. Just to make sure we have equal sizes. It doesn't have to be fully perfect, but the closer the better. So today we're going to be talking about Peposo alla Fornacina, which is a traditional beef stew from Tuscany, Italy. It comes from a small town near Florence called Peposo. Peposo actually started as a working class dish. Back in the Renaissance period, Peposo was known for making terracotta pottery. The workers, called Fornacini, spent long hours tending extremely hot kilns. Since the oven stayed hot all day, they used the heat to cook their food. They would make tougher, cheaper cuts of beef, put them in clay pots with garlic, salt, a lot of black pepper, and red wine, and then leave it to cook slowly near the fire for hours. By the end of the day, the meat would be really tender and full of flavor. One interesting thing about Peposo is how much black pepper it uses. The pepper helped cover the taste of tougher meat and acted as a preservative. It also gave the dish its bold, spicy flavor, which is where the name Peposo comes from, meaning peppery. After cutting up all the meat, I'm going to make sure to wash my hands, get all that blood gunk off of it, before we move on to our next step of the dish. Next up, we got to pour the olive oil in the pan and heat it up to fry our meats. We're moving the temperature up to medium-low. Right now we're just peeling our garlic cloves, add them to our dish. To give you some more facts about Peposo, every year in the town of Imprunta, named Florence, locals come together to celebrate one of their most famous traditions during the Sega del Peposo, a festival entirely dedicated to Peposo. The festival usually takes place in the late summer or early fall, when the weather is warm and people can gather outside. The streets and town squares fill with long tables, local vendors, and the smell of slow-cooked beef, garlic, and black pepper drifting through the air. Huge portions of Peposo are prepared in advance, often using traditional methods. Some are still cooked in clay pots, honoring the way the original kiln workers made it centuries ago. The cooking process is slow and intentional, just like it was back then. When you walk through the festival, it's not just about the food. You hear live music, people laughing, glasses clinking, and the families and friends sitting together for hours. It has a really strong community feel, where locals and visitors all come together to share the same experience. Alongside Peposo, you'll also find other Tuscan specialties and local wine, especially Chianti, since the region is known for it. Everything is very simple but high quality, fresh bread, local ingredients, and recipes that have been passed down for generations. Okay, so now we're just adding the meat to the pan, trying to sizzle it on each side for about a minute or so, flipping it around halfway through. I chose this dish to make for this class because it kind of looked like something I would eat in my own free time, and it looked very small and easy. That's something I can not really have to pay much attention to and can just leave it sitting all day. And so far the ingredients are small and slim, so I don't really need that much, so it's cost effective on my pockets. This took me a couple batches to make, so I made sure to save all the juices in between each time just by pulling them in a bowl and letting them finish resting before I added them back in after everything was all said and done, which then we got on to the next steps of finally prepping everything and getting it going for 3 hours.
Next up here, you'll see us opening a super fancy red wine that we got from the store. Total cost of $14. That was the main budget for this project. Adding it in here, letting it simmer on low for about 3 hours. Here we're adding garlic, salt, and pepper. That's it. And here we're stirring it to kind of break up the meat that we didn't sear. And then we're going to cover it, of course.
So over the next 30 seconds or so, I'm just showing you every 30 minutes of the dish. At some points it did look scary, it didn't look edible and look good, but we were trying to hold on to faith that at the end of the meal it was going to be good. So here's the dishes. It was bubbling pretty good. It had a really strong wine smelling as the wine cooked off of it.
This is one of the final updates that we have, and our lights went out, so we had to use a flashlight. We're gonna keep stirring it. Potatoes that were supposed to be corn. And here we are serving it up. It looks just great. Next, we're gonna have some victims try it.
Are you not ready? Yeah, you're ready. How is it, Emily?
I think it's meat.
Hi guys. Today we'll be trying Peposo alla Fornacina. Wow, that was amazing. Exactly how I remember it last year. In all seriousness, this dish was amazing and a great throwback to a time where food actually tasted good.
Overall, over the course of the semester, I had a really good time learning about Italy and the different types of culture and practices they follow. For this project, I had a really good time working with my friends, all working together to come up with this meal. You can tell by the video we're all having a pretty good time and hanging out, which I think is really what this food's like known for, like family gatherings, socializing, hanging out with friends, and I think we represented that well. In all seriousness, no, this meal was really interesting to make, and I learned a lot throughout making it. Definitely made some mistakes along the way, but definitely can improve on those for next time.